Taylor. She came all the way up to Santa Fe from Las Cruces, and so we're very lucky to have her here. Tonight you're going to be hearing 4 different structured improvisations, some more structured than others. Over the past, we met maybe a decade ago.
When did you start college?
When I started college. She was my first theory professor, and we've become great friends, and this is our first sort of full-on collaboration together. So we went about it by basically writing. It ended up being 2 pieces a piece, which are essentially a list of instructions, sometimes with certain timings, sometimes with a very clear score of what happens when, and sometimes it's very, very, very open. And you'll, I think, be able to tell, probably based on how much we're doing this. So, yeah, would you like to?
Sure. Do you want to tell them about your? Everyone here already knows Tara. Is that the sitch?
Oh, I'm from Santa Fe. I've done.
I'm Santa Fe. I'm Tara Khozein.
I'm from Santa Fe. I studied classical singing at NMSU, and then I went on and studied physical theater in Europe, and then came back to Santa Fe 3 years ago. So I'm back and just having a wonderful time in this community doing this kind of out there work. And I found that Santa Fe has really embraced it. So thank you all so much for coming here and for supporting it. Yeah.
Oh, hello. I'm an instrumentalist. I don't like to talk too much. You know, this thing that you do. I am the saxophone professor at New Mexico State down in Las Cruces. I'm in my 15th year teaching there. What else? You can read about me online. You can go find my albums online. I won't give you the whole shtick, but just Google me. I'm on there. Tara already told you about our history together. I haven't been back to Santa Fe now for 2 years. Tara was part of putting a show together at Radical Abacus 2 years ago, and I came out and played then, did a solo set, and we've been talking since about doing something together, and we finally were able to do it. She talked a little bit about the kinds of amounts of structure that'll be involved tonight, but everything we're doing tonight is improvised. We already did a version of this show a week ago in Las Cruces, which was a blast, and I see at least one of my students who is already at that show, so I'll have to contrast and compare. Oh, Alex, hello. Alex. Fabulous. All right, so now I have 2 students who are here from, who were in Las Cruces before. Oh no! They're growing. All right. Solo show. See you later. Yeah, and I, like Tara, I'm classically trained, which I know for a lot of people it's unusual to think of a saxophonist as having a classical background. But I've always played like the weirdo music, the weirdo outsider music. I was just playing that music written by other people, and I got to a point where, I don't know, I wasn't as excited as much about just other people's ideas and executing them really well. So long story short, free improvisation has been my main medium now for just about 5 years. I'm still pretty new to it. But I love how inclusive and exciting that world is. What else? So the rules we had for this show, as far as creating scores, since we knew there would be no rehearsal time, is, like Tara said, we wrote out instructions for each other, but the rule was that it didn't have to require rehearsal. So we sort of had a rehearsal by having a show last week. The rules haven't changed, but we can't wait to do this again tonight. So shall we start? You want to tell everybody about
So the first piece is called Memory, and this piece involves a little bit of participation from you. It'll be private participation, so you won't have to come up here and do anything. But if you could all just think of a memory that you've carried with you for some reason. And it's a memory that isn't necessarily saturated with any emotional quality. It's not a sad memory or a happy memory. It's just a memory that's stuck with you. Something that's just sort of like seemed important. So if you have a memory like that, if you could just go like this. And then if you're still thinking of a memory, I'll say some things to maybe help jog your memory. It's often something that you're watching happen, often something from your childhood or your adolescence, maybe from a long, long time ago, something that might be triggered by a smell or a taste, or a time of year. So let's take another poll. Anyone who, yeah, very, very, very close. So continue sort of trying to think of that memory, what it is for yourself. And if you've chosen one, should we turn those off?
The hot water fellow has become sentient and it's starting, you guys. Just run, don't let that. Oh, or that's a solution too. That's probably, yeah. They can unplug robots before you murder you.
So if you could now just go into this memory and remember what the air felt like, remember who was around you, try and remember what you were wearing, what the ground felt beneath your feet, or what the chair felt beneath you if you were sitting, and just sort of spend the next few minutes trying to flesh out that memory, and maybe we'll help you jog some things as well. validate your memory? Who said yes? No? Cool. The next piece is called Gestures. Really enjoying singing in this place. Thank you.
Yeah.
Form and Concept, everyone, for having us. Such a pleasure to be in here. This piece sort of stems from a question about musical gestures versus physical gestures and what happens when we layer them. So feel free to have any reaction that feels appropriate to you.
I wouldn't say any reaction that feels appropriate. Like, just imagine the personal space.
Yeah, maybe don't touch us, but
no direct eye contact.
I need to get
This just takes a moment. Timings are involved. This is the reason why Tara is introducing these first two is that these were her first two, or her scores for the first half of the show. I'll introduce the second half, but yeah, Tara of course came up with this like incredible, super like tightly structured, awesome. I think it's awesome. You guys could hate it. It's totally anything's possible. But yeah, this is Tara's mad genius creation.
Oh,
yeah, I like it. All right, let's put you right there. Okay. Okay. Is there anything else you want to?
Nope.
All right. Okay. Let's do it. So I have this problem when I go to the grocery store. I make a list. I'm careful about the list. I'm on a budget like everybody else. But in addition to buying the stuff on the list, I buy a chocolate bar. It's not on the list. The chocolate bar is a reward for myself for doing a totally normal adult thing. But I feel like I deserve it, right? But it's never on the list. It's a little something extra. Don't you want that little something? I do.
I know I shouldn't be left alone in office supply stores because buying office supplies gives me an incredible sense of being capable. Sometimes when I need to buy something from an office supply store, bad things happen.
That's nice. I like, don't stop it. Thanks. Yeah, I appreciate you. That we'll probably have to discuss for some length of time. Right, so I started out with getting this one chocolate bar, whatever. But the last few months, I don't get one chocolate bar because now one chocolate bar, that's part of the deal. I already know I'm getting the one chocolate bar. How is that a surprise for myself? I wish I was making this up for the show, but this is totally true. Just ask the nice cashiers at Natural Grocers on Loman and Las Cruces. It's not good. I get 2 chocolate bars now. Because the first one is just part of the normal grocery experience, still not on the list, still not documented, no one knows.
Pen.
And then the second one is the treat.
And
sort of like having a 20 in your pants from last season, like I'm gonna find the second chocolate bar, I'll
was actually erasable.
I never forget about it. I always eat it right after I eat the first chocolate bar.
And I realized that I'd never seen a truly erasable pen before.
Right.
And I realized that I needed it. And I saw that my friend had it, and it had this amazing hard rubber eraser that didn't go away when you erased it. It stays the same amount of rubber as you're erasing. And I was like, oh, it's so beautiful. I need that.
No, it's good though. It's good. It's good. Everything you're saying, except most of it, is perfect. I really, almost all, except none of what you're telling me, I agree with. So we at least have a jumping off point.
So I realized I was going to go to Office Max, and I was going to buy this pen, which I knew came in a trio of pens of the same variety.
So why don't I just go reward anyways?
I walk into Office Max, and of course,
like that. There's always like someone in line at Starbucks.
Unable to just
Starbucks, so you feel
buy
bad about yourself, but there you are.
the one pen.
And there's somebody in front of you in line, and they're like,
uncontrollable
I totally deserve a frappuccino. I was so good this week. I deserve
everything.
And it's like, do you deserve it?
Office supplies.
What the hell did you do this week? Did you rescue an orphan?
This basket.
Were you in Costa Rica doing something amazing?
And
but then there's the other side of it too. We're like, why do you have to deserve it?
It's not about things that I want. It's
why
because I care what the checkout girl thinks about me, and I want her to think that I'm responsible because I'm buying office supplies.
Like 5 fucking seconds, so I can't wait to hear what else you thought of since I heard from you last. I know texting is hard for you, but you have so much things, you know, so many things to say. Right? Okay. Alright. Okay. Alright. person and things are unpleasant. I mean, I wanted to blame Judeo-Christian values, but then I thought about like Plato and the forms, the idea that, you know, perfection is always outside of us, so it's like definitely something in us. I don't know, like shouldn't your life be the reward? Like if we're lucky enough to be born in a first world country, all that stuff, right? Like, I don't know. Just something to think about.
And then I realized that she doesn't care what items I've chosen from Office Max. It's actually her job to not care. If she cared, she would be exhausted all the time. Because who could possibly, I would be exhausted all the time if I had her job. So I leave and I go into my car and I open this package of pens, which is at the bottom of the bag of all of the other stuff that I bought. And I open it up, and I find that I've chosen the single most contradictory writing implement.
All right.
It has all of the confidence and adulthood and responsibility of a pen, but none of the decisiveness.
Nope. Yeah, except, well, right, no, Oh yeah. Right? Yeah? Right? Okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to do about the chocolate bars, frankly. It's not heroin. Not doing heroin yet. Not at that point in my career musically or financially. But I think there's something to it to think about. So that was Tara's very carefully thought out, awesome, tightly structured thing. So the next one's mine. I'm sorry, you're welcome, I don't know. Are you using a business stamp for this one, sister? Did you make a plan that I don't know about? No plan. I have something for you. There you go. Yeah. You ready? All right. All right. Reaching whole new levels of intimacy in our friendship tonight, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, piggyback. How did I? I'm sorry. I'm sorry that I did that to your ears. Thanks again for coming tonight, you guys. So this last one is also mine. This is loosely based on 3 monsters from the Dungeons & Dragons Monsters Manual. I think the first book version was published in 1978. I did not play Dungeons & Dragons as a child because my attention span was poor. My brother played Dungeons & Dragons, and so while he would play Dungeons & Dragons for real, I would steal the monster manual and look at the cool monsters. So if you got one of those handouts from the beginning, again, if you like to read, if you want to, there you go. If you don't want to, that's cool too. I'm talking to you and saying things, so you don't have to read. But yeah, at first, you know, I imagine a lot of the people in here are artists. You know how this goes. At first I had these like grandiose plans between a whole bunch of different monsters, and then like edit it down to 3 that we're gonna be personifying. I need to put my saxophone together. Would you like to tell them about the monsters a little bit, Tar?
I would. So, the first thing you're gonna be hearing is Shadow. How many of you did get these? Yeah, I guess I'm into like show of hands. It's great. So the first shadow will be shadow music. Important things that I thought about it were that it's in its lair 40% of the time. It's a kind of homebody.
Like me!
And me. Wow, I have a lot of notes. Number of appearing at a time, I took that, are 2 to 20. So a group of shadows might all come together. Its special attack is to strength drain. And basically, I think its intelligence is low, so reaction time is going to be very slow. I took a lot of inspiration from the fact that it often lives in ancient ruins or below the ground. It's like a subterranean shadow being. Like me! Just like you.
I just kept saying to myself over and over again, like, they're monsters, they're just like me. Please continue.
There's the second part. So that's the first section. You'll hear Rhonda sort of be the shadow monster, and then I'll join her. Then you'll hear me turn into a groaning spirit or a banshee. Important things about this that I found was that she's very, very fast, really smart, and her most important defense mechanism is to keen at people, to sing horribly sad things to them. I liked a lot, I think of banshees sometimes as screaming things. I like that this definition was about groaning more. It kind of opens up a different kind of sonic world for me. And then the last section, I love this is the closest I ever get to a lecture, and it's about monsters. And the last section is the dragon. You can imagine what that would be. I liked that it was a cross between a brass dragon and a great lion, and that it had very small wings that don't get it very far.
Shall we?
Yeah.